Hey everybody, this is Brian Cannon. Now later on in the show you'll see me for OVW Mania, but I'm here for a special segment this week. I want to continue what we've been talking about, especially with it being the big news story of the week on MLB Network, Sports Center, and all that, with baseball and the PEDs and A-Rod and all that. So what I wanted to talk about, now I know I talked with the doctor a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to kind of continue, especially with all the A-Rod stuff and the unfairness of it. This week, if you've been living under a rock or something in the sports world, a lot of suspensions were handed down for all the players that were connected to Biogenesis. A lot of suspensions were handed out, 50 games. Players like Nelson Cruz, Everth Cabrera. There was probably about a dozen of them. Ryan Braun had already got one a couple weeks ago for like 65 games. That was for the rest of the year. The big one, of course, was A-Rod, who got 211 games, which was supposed to be for the rest of this year and next year. However, with baseball's appeal process, he's still playing. And this is what I wanted to get into because there's no fairness in this whatsoever. And what I wanted to say first is I do applaud baseball for cracking down and wanting to clean up the game. But in my opinion, the appeals process needs to be changed. I don't know how or what exactly they need to do on it, but if this situation comes up again, what do you do? Here's a guy that has lied before, we know has taken steroids before, and yet he is still getting to play even though he was suspended. All the other guys that got the 50-game suspensions took them, and they're gone right now, but yet he's appealing and still getting to play. First of all, this how does this look to kids who look up to baseball players or other sports figures as kind of heroes or idolize them, try to imitate them. If they see, if some of them are, Yankees fans and they're like, man, I really like A-Rod and all that, how is this any good for them? Oh, well, you can take drugs and you can still play because you can appeal. That it's just not right. And how is this fair to several other things? First of all, the Yankees fans, because some of them might still have a blind loyalty to their team, regardless of who's playing for them. But I was talking about this the other day to a couple people, and I said, what happens if you've got a close game, and at the end of the game, A-Rod hits a walk-off home run? The Yankees win the game. What do you do? Your hand's kind of forced, like I said, unless you have a blind loyalty, you just don't care. But you want to cheer and applaud and like, yeah, the Yankees won, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to stand up and cheer because you've got this cheater who should, in my opinion, shouldn't even be playing. That was the one that hit the home run. So first this isn't fair to Yankees fans. Then what about fans of the other teams and the other teams in general? I'm talking about like the other AL East teams, the Red Sox, the Orioles, the Tampa Bay Rays. If A-Rod plays like the A-Rod of old and helps the Yankees get to the playoffs, how is this fair? Because the Red Sox, Orioles, and Rays are playing either fairly, or if they did have players that were suspended, their players are suspended. They're not playing right now. They took their 50-game suspensions and they're gone. So, this isn't fair to the other teams. It's not fair to the other team's fans if they make a push. I know they're a few games behind right now, but if they make a push and end up in the playoffs. I asked one Yankees fan that I know what they would do. Now, he's hated A-Rod from the beginning, and he said he wouldn't clap because he shouldn't be playing, which I agree with. But still, it's hard for me because, I'm a big St. Louis Cardinal fan, and none of my Cardinals had this suspension issue. But I'm trying to think, if I was a fan of another team and I had a suspended player that was still playing and my team won, it's hard. It's like being between a rock and a hard place because, like I said, they shouldn't be playing, but yet you want to cheer for your team. So, like I said, that's really just why it's so not fair, because there's nothing that you can do to make it right. You can stand up and clap and say, well, I'm only clapping for the team. I'm not clapping because of A-Rod, but I'm clapping because my team won. But yet you're still clapping at the time A-Rod's rounding the bases. So that's where I'm kind of stuck. And then, this isn't fair to other players, too. There's one player named Skip Schumacher. He used to be on the St. Louis Cardinals. He's currently with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the other day, on an interview, he was talking and saying, "Look, I had to bust my butt to even get to the majors." And he goes, "I bust my butt every day to stay in the majors." He's a player that's well respected, that has always done it the right way. He's not the biggest guy, but he's a good little ball player. And it's not fair to people like him or people under him, especially in the Yankees organization, who are not making major league money, who don't have major league roster spots, and yet you've got a guy like A-Rod who's still cashing in right now because he's still getting to play and taking up a roster spot for guys who deserve to have a chance in the majors, who are doing it the right way, and yet A-Rod is blocking them from getting anywhere. And I mean, I couldn't even believe A-Rod's press conference the other day, because he kept saying, "Oh, well, the truth will come out when the time is right." What truth? He hasn't spoken any truth from day one. He's already been caught before. He's already lied before. I mean, it was like watching a bad acted movie on this press conference, because he kept just like deferring the question and not ever answering. I mean, we know he's guilty, and the fact that he's getting to play and when he's supposed to be suspended, and knowing that he's done steroids or whatever before, it's just mind-boggling to me. I guess what I want to get to in all this is what does baseball need to do in the appeals process? Because the biggest thing to me is it's not fair that A-Rod's still playing. It's not fair, like I said, to the Yankees fans. It's not fair to the other teams in the AL East. It's not fair to other players who are getting blocked because he's taking up a roster spot and making bukus of dollars to take a spot that other people rightfully deserve, who are busting their butts trying to get to the major leagues and doing it the right way. So I'm glad baseball's cracking down, and I need to know, what should baseball do on the appeals process, because something has to be changed. Maybe some of y'all watching out there can leave some comments on Triple Threat Talks page. Maybe you have some ideas. Maybe the Triple Threat guys have some ideas. I don't know. Something else, I mentioned this on the video with the doc a couple weeks ago. I still think baseball might be better off going from 3 to 2 strikes, because right now they've got the 50, 100, and then you're gone thing, I think. But they need to go from the first time, because maybe somebody did take something by accident. Okay, they get a 50-game suspension. They know not to do it again. But second time, you're gone. You're done. You're gone. Because first time, okay, you've gotten away or tried getting away with something, or you made a mistake. Okay, fine. We can let you get off with one mistake, one accident. But the second time, then something's wrong. So I think that might be better off. But if baseball does leave it at the current system, which is 50, 100, and then you're done, maybe they need to look into putting some kind of clause in there regarding the contract situations. Because here you got A-Rod, who makes, I think, like over $25 million a year to play, and maybe like the second time, if they stick with 50 and 100, besides that 100-game suspension, there maybe put some kind of clause in there that they can also redo the contract, because after a second suspension it voids the current contract, and maybe you can renegotiate a new contract if that happens, so that you're not stuck with this ridiculous contract that is for so many years and for so much money, especially in A-Rod's case. I mean, that's just an idea. I don't know if that's something they could do or not, but I mean, it would, to me, it would only be fair. But I wanted to get all of that off my chest, because I just know it's not fair to baseball for A-Rod to still be playing right now. And like I said, I'd like to get your all's ideas, but for now, that's all I've got on the baseball situation. Like I said, I'll be back here later for OVW Mania like usual, and we've got a lot of OVW news to cover this week. But for right now, I'm going to send it back to the guys in the studio. Thanks.